Hi guys, some of you might remember me from your past, in the past. My name is Maria Matthews. I am currently a self-made person who has experienced quite a lot of very challenging situations in life. During my, I would say, adventurous life experience, be it to isolation or other difficult factors through my life, I've had a lot of time to spend doing introspection and trying to do my best to understand the rules and defining attributes that govern the whole human mind. I have been planning to do those kind of videos, to have a chat with you guys and this kind of content for a while. However, I was battling a lot of feelings of anxiety and various other issues that were preventing me from doing the things I wanted in life. Thus, being able to do this now, it's something very satisfying for me. The content of understanding and perspective on life I'm going to try to share with you is what actually have helped me to achieve the success that I'm currently experiencing in my life. Starting with one of my favorite analogies, which is the king, queen, and the jester, which was one of the first kind of realizations I have experienced as I started to change the way I see things and started to become the person I wanted to become. Some of you might probably know, but for those who don't, I have had a lot of, I would say, difficulties in life to go through. And those difficulties have given me a lot of, I would say, negative experiences that has affected me in various ways. Some of it be elements of PTSD, flashbacks, being generally quite introverted and anxious person, having issues with things like being on camera, all the things that are currently, I would say, pretty much gone, thanks to the way I kind of approached and understood how those things work. As you know, we are humans, and as we are humans, we are also, in to some degree, an animal. Now, as the nature goes, and as you observe any of the creatures living on this planet, we all have a mind that kind of works on its own, and some people call it the subconscious mind. Some people would call it the reptilian mind, as we've got that from our ancestors in the previous steps of evolution. And effectively is the mind that, let's say, when you are a kid and you try to touch something that is too hot and you burn yourself, will basically remember next time to not touch the object. Aka, it will be the element of your mind that is responsible for autonomous reactions, that effectively tries to, in a way, protect you from experiencing harm of any kind in your life. When you start understanding things from this perspective, the you, conscious you that you are aware of, and the you that thinks in that way counts as one part of your personality. The other part, or the other half of your mindset, is that reactive brain that was kind of implemented there by the nature and evolution to allow you to stay safe and survive as species. Now, when a person is experiencing traumatic events in their life, those events are usually very strong when it comes to an emotional level of how your mind and yourself will be affected. Therefore, those events would be what, in a way you could say, programs your mind, the reactive part of your mind, to basically avoid the song, the person, the place, the situation. Now, as we all know, some of the traumatic events in life that happen are events that might be quite common. Might be events like going outside of your house, might be events like visiting a place that you're supposed to visit quite commonly, like school or any other place in your life. Therefore, you could say that having those incorrectly learned patterns that basically happen to you due to the bad experiences in your life might be quite life-limiting, and very often is. Now, following on this analogy, if you can see where I am going, let's assume that you, as yourself, are a kingdom. And as you own yourself and you are effectively yourself, that kingdom is yours. You are the queen or you are the king of yourself. Now, the reactive part of your brain is the one that causes the flashbacks and causes you to have those involuntary, I would say, reactions to things due to the stuff you have experienced in your life, is who I like to call the Jester. So if you had learned that in the past during history class, a Jester on a king's court or queen's court would actually be a very intelligent person that would be advising the king or the queen on how to do things, on what are the views of the common populace within your kingdom. They would act and play stupid, but actually would be a very intelligent person very often. And through the meaning of jokes, they would be telling the king what they believe the king should or shouldn't do. Now, can you see how this is very similar to the reactive part of your brain, right? If you have touched something hot when you were a kid, you now have an autonomous reaction or an advisor in your brain that basically tells you, don't touch hot things because you're going to burn yourself. And in a similar way, if you think of bad experiences, and just to start with something light, let's say you went out and friends have made fun of you in a public place, that would effectively teach your Jester on your king or queen's court that maybe you shouldn't go out with friends. Maybe you shouldn't see them again, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to protect you from the same thing happening again. Now, the system in place is not intelligent. The intelligent part of you is the conscious part of you, the one where you make decisions yourself. So when very strong negative events happen to you in your life, the subconscious part of yourself, the Jester, the autonomous brain reaction, will try to protect you from the same thing happening again, but due to the strength of the event happening or the commonality of a place or a song or a location, this is now the system that's supposed to take care of you being used overly, being effectively overly sensitive to the things that other people are not. And that happened to you just because the bad experience have happened to you. Now, as I have learned kind of this point of view, and I created this analogy in my head on how those things work, I have also realized that there's one thing that's very important here. when it comes to a setup of a king's or a queen's court. And that is that at the end of the day, you are the king or you are the queen. But very often when those worries and anxieties, fears, phobias, flashbacks take over, you could say that in a way you are giving away the control over yourself to the autonomous part of your mind. For me, in the past, that realization has kind of taught me that I don't want to be this way. I want to rule over myself, not my autonomous reactions. If you think about it, if you really want to, you could keep holding your hand on a held object to burn yourself. Same way you can, over quite a long and difficult process of, in a way, exposing yourself to the thing that triggers your autonomous response. Rewrite the way you perceive the experience. Tell your, as I call it, Jester, that it is you who rule over yourself, and that what they are advising you, regardless of it being correct due to the past events, that one time in the past when those things happen, is not actually true. And the hardest thing in doing so was rebelling and disagreeing with the Jester, was saying, no, I do not believe you, regardless of the reaction we are experiencing. Is the statement of, I know now, and I am aware that this is just a pattern system in my brain that has been conditioned to react in a certain way because it is designed to protect me, and it has backfired. It had stopped working correctly, and it has learned incorrect things that it then tried to convince me, and very often did convince me in the past, of the things that weren't true. Now, when I look back at all of those years that I have spent being afraid, being anxious, being worried about so many things that weren't true, it's all making sense. It's all been things that were basically stopping me from doing things I wanted to do. Just like doing this video right now. And when I looked at various books and support and understanding of how those things work, I haven't noticed anyone witnessing those things in similar ways. Therefore, I thought that I'll share this with you, because I think that would be the best way to see if that kind of perception can help any of you become the person you want to be. And I think it's quite a logical thing to understand. So if you see any value in this, please let me know. But regardless, I'm going to try to continue this series and see how far I can get while sharing my knowledge on how I got in life where I am now. Thank you, and stay tuned, and see you later.